Disclaimer: the following video is an uncut version of one that was previously uploaded in separate parts to accommodate YouTube's 15-minute limit for non-verified users. With the video being old, there may be some statements which I don't stand by or regret making. Please keep that information in mind. And as usual, this video contains content which is unsuitable for a young audience, and please do not harass any users I mention here. With that done, roll it. Hello viewers, Konek here, and I am continuing the double feature on FarhanTheMovieGuy's travesties of journals. Previously I went over his Koi's own script, and now I'm ripping one of his actual rants to shreds. This guy has plenty to rummage through with rants, but there is one in particular I'll be making jabs at. A rant reflecting so much on his actual issues while trying to escape those faults as foolproof as he thinks it will fare. Yup. His rant on the plagiarism incident he had. Look at the label he gives this drama. It makes it sound like it's at a near level importance as something like the War of 1812 or something. And in the thumbnail we see a neurotic version of Blue from Dick Figures next to a very bad Wanted poster. The rant fist he uses also is reminiscent of numerous other users, beyond the obvious one who's apparently an anti-Semite. Though before I start off with this shit show of a commentary, there are some things I forgot to say about Farhan, or some corrections. Some will be saved for later. Tying in with the Clay response, he wrote a status post closely related to the own script in question. Holy crap! But I don't really think it's gonna matter since Clay's dumbass fantards will devour anything he vomits out of his mouth and white knight him regardless, while praising him like he's Jesus Christ! Farhan, your hate voters protruding out, cover it up! In all seriousness, stop treating it like most of Clay's fans will throw a fit over criticisms given towards him, and that they blindly agree. That's not a pleasant start, but it only goes further downhill due to his nearly identical wording of what was in the original script. You see, fellas, this is proof he relies on a dictionary of random adjectives and verbs and reuses them in the same contexts. Another thing, he is basically an ignorant moron who insults various people by calling them autistic. And yes, it really irritates me considering that I am a human being with autism myself. Wow, I couldn't sense that. Plus, it's kind of an abrupt change in heart for you because you were previously fine with having autism being used as an insult. Specifically about Shay Cook's video.
It's a vicious spinner.
Hashtag join the resistance. What resistance? Besides those disenfranchised pussies who don't want to hear a pint of negative feedback towards the people Clay talks about, most people would not want to join your resistance. Surrounding the journals Farhan makes, if you were expecting me to tackle a different journal of his, they pretty much intertwine with one another, with only a few different points or excuses added. Yes, most of his journals retread old territory, a painful reminder on how little variety he has. Lastly, as a brief response to a comment written by Golden Koso, I don't really think me not talking about these IGA numbnuts is going to make that part of my following vanish. As long as there are public videos and comments of me bad-mouthing its community, they'll flock to it. Though as you can tell from some of the more recent output, the amount of IGA and other user group related rants I have produced has diminished. Outside of a few more bad apples left, I'm looking at you, Julian Song. I might be done with them by the beginning of 2018. Alright, time to tear this journal apart. Well, most of it. This would likely be my longest video to date, so get comfy. On a couch, or on a fucking table, I guess. Disclaimer! Before I begin this rant, I would just like to make two disclaimers. My first disclaimer is that this is going to be a pretty angry rant. There is a big reason for this, though. Yeah, because trivial reasons are big reasons. I am aware that these things may mean a lot to some little sensitive prick like yourself. In fact, some of my own rants show off me complaining about a few trivial reasons. The difference between the two is that I am mostly aware of it where you may not be. Even at 14 years old, which you are right now, I don't think I treated such reasons as bombastically as you had. Then again, I kinda cried over some trivial bullshit, as you do. If you don't like my angry behavior, I highly suggest you be careful when paying attention to it. That part doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I guess you're saying that we shouldn't anger you, but I must be careful when paying attention to it? If that's what you're trying to say, you're golly, I'm scared. I'll be cowering and whimpering in the closet. Well, I would if I were the most anxious human out there, so I'll persist. My second disclaimer is that what I say in this post is 100% true! I am not playing the victim card or anything of that nature! You will really need to have this disclaimer ingrained into your memory for the rest of the video. I don't trust Farhan enough for him to tell the honest truth, so I won't take his word on everything. Viewer discretion is advised! Well, I guess it's a good thing you don't want your fans to look at the journal. As soon as the statement is over, he puts an action for an intro playing. I don't need to reiterate what I said about his unwatchable intro, but I do have a correction to make. You see this intro? Yeah, Farhan wasn't even the creator behind it. Instead, a friend of his that remains anonymous made the intro. The only plus to come out of this realization is that Farhan actually has a friend. Good on you, but I hope he doesn't realize what you're doing is only giving your detractors more material. It's been 7 fucking months since this drama first started, and it is unfortunately still going on to this very day. And you wonder why. I won't jump the gun here, so I'll allow you to explain before I discuss my gripes. Anyways, greetings fellow deviants. This is me, yours absolute truly, FarhanTheMovieGuy, or Master Movie Simulator 9000, right here. And I'm back for another rant. Today's rant, however, will be on a pretty special topic. It won't be on a certain show or movie I dislike. It will actually be on the
2017 plagiarism incident.
Why is that? Simply put, I absolutely despise this incident so much, to the point where I just have to rant on it, so I can fucking get it off my chest. And judging by the fact that it's still going on, it's really quite obvious that I'm still furious and pissed off about it. Huh? You're angry? I thought you were afraid or excited with the bolded all-caps words and the tone the opening gave me. Actually, you're not enraged. You're trigger-happy. Oh, and thanks for mentioning your rants on cartoons or movies, which you make atrocity cards out of. Even before you replied to Sony of Clay Claymore, you made a bunch of these off of SML episodes you didn't find to fit your taste. Jeffrey said the word faggot. That's offensive to my gay friend. Now to the smaller issues prevalent in this opening. You don't need to play up your introduction this much, and about the name. Except if you are doing a rebrand, please stick to one name in the intro. The label you give this schlock is, like I've said before, overly dramatic and fails to make it sound important. No one is going to remember this in the next decade, unless it's a family passing. For the sake of humanity, please don't. Oh, and Farhan, you say, get it off my chest a little too much. To lower the chances of people thinking you're a robot, think of another way to say it. So, without further ado, let's being. What the hell? You know what? I believe you're angry now. You're so angry you don't even know how to spell check. God damn it, you're making me angry. Okay, chill out, Bracket. I need to calm down. I should probably listen to some down-tempo music. Okay, I'm no longer tensed up. Let's see what you have to say now. It all started in the March of 2017. As to when I have gotten called out by someone, not mentioning his name because reasons, for intentionally ripping off Yoshi players ran on Happy Tree Friends. I just love how you're trying to sound innocent by not mentioning the user who grabbed that observation. In this scenario, it's AutoMagicCritic, who is later mentioned by initials later on. To make this less of a chore, I will be replacing the unmentioned names for the person he's meaning to refer to. Also, we have now introduced one of the 2 names who is going to be repeatedly tagged in this journal. And unsurprisingly, it's someone he's a fanboy of. Whoop-de-flippin'-do. Not only that, but also for copying the thumbnail when he said word per word for out. At first I thought he was making fun of me, judging by the picture he made on me, and then used the whole "it's just a pass" excuse just to get away with it. Don't freaking remind me. But then I figured out that was probably a joke. I have then learned from it after I Go Media and I had a talk about it, and then tried moving on from it. Introducing tagged person numero dos. Skipping a little bit because he actually admits a mistake here. But this is really one of the only ones he will admit throughout the entire thing. Afterwards, people by the name of Mr. Demon Slayer in them house has been quote-unquote trolling me for a fault of mine. I'm sure you all know what it is. And I have been called out upon, again, for taking his obvious trolling seriously. You know what? I can't defend either side on this point. The side that is filled with self-proclaimed trolls isn't really doing much favorable when it comes to helping you out. I'd be neutral towards it if it had lasted around the duration of the original DA spamming that I was partly involved in, but now it's kind of going a little over the edge. One of the few saving graces to it is that In Dem House made a well-constructed response to you, so there's that. But don't think you're getting any brownie points for this, because you are one of the reasons it has escalated. You went into your infant form and failed to reason with them, which of course they wouldn't listen to anyway. In shorter terms, neither of you are right. More of his shenanigans continued on how I seemed to get called out for copying Ray Rules 96's parody character by the name of Cartoon Person 1212, and they seemed to be referring his persona. Now, no word of a lie here. At that time, I actually didn't realize that I copied CP1212's persona from my old parody account, since I was too stupid to not even realize that. This may or may not be playing the victim card, but I do have some suspicion. From my recollection, you commented on the Cartoon Person 1212 account before your parody transition hit the scene, and I think it's a load of bollocks that you didn't know of the account's creator or presence. And no, that short time when you two screwed around with the profile pictures poking fun of their creators isn't making me believe this wasn't from some sort of grudge. Hell, Ray Rules was one of the more reasonable critics you went after, which indicates your short temper. However, this probably wasn't intended to dick ride CP1212. Maybe it was a piggyback off of people who did the same thing. Around the same time, users like Frozen Angel made parody accounts in the same mold as Cartoon Person. You know, with the inanimate object resemblance. At least with Ray's parody, people made a meme about him being a basketball. The others didn't. Even if it was indirectly cloned from Cartoon Person, you still ripped the character off. After being a dick to IGO Media by calling him a quote-unquote backstabber, I have sincerely apologized to him for what I have said to him, and for my plagiarizing actions. Again, although this time I accidentally plagiarized, it was still my fault nonetheless. Debates are going to erupt in the comment section that Farhan admitted another mistake, but I don't see it as that. How does one accidentally plagiarize someone? Yeah, many people unknowingly plagiarize someone else's words on a test, but there's a hint of an excuse because they didn't know someone else worded it similarly, plus they could usually take it again. For your incident, you knew damn well who most of these people are, so you calling this accidental stealing is a lie. Also, regarding your wording, you shouldn't put air quotes right after you say quote unquote. Not only is it redundant, but it sort of cancels out the sarcasm. But after that, this is where the drama goes way too far! And this is where I'm going to start becoming furious! Ah shit, I gotta get the intense music now. This softy music isn't fitting for this commentary whatsoever. When the same person who called me out for my actions in the first place came to me in the comment section making false assumptions about my opinion on Frozen Angel when I was just minding my own business, and I didn't exactly hate him, okay, I was losing respect for him at that, for publicly doxing a special someone by the name of Aiden King, aka Rock Music Fan 2002. A few seconds later, he had exposed my comment on Twitter, and I was secretly ashamed of the fact that I didn't become responsible for my own actions. However, though, I got so pissed off at him while accidentally plagiarizing Frozen Angel's comment as a response to him, and it literally took me little seconds to respond to him, and I actually did not meant to do that because of how furious I felt by his response, to the point where I then blocked him. And you wanna know something? If I did that on purpose, I would have been responsible for it. I just felt like he allowed me to say whatever I wanted. The first time I thought you were playing victim, I gave it the benefit of a doubt. This time, I am sure that you played victim here. You yammer on and on about how you thought Frozen Angel allowed you to say what you wanted, which I'm pretty sure wasn't his intention. It also proves you have uncontrollable rage every now and again when you could have just went ahead and took a break. No, 3 hours isn't a fucking break. Oh, and smooth move of blocking him before he could even respond. Definitely not trying to damage control at all. I am convinced you knew you plagiarized, but your outburst got the better of you, making you ignore you actually did plagiarize and made you look like a total jackass. I cannot feel sympathy for you here, asshole. Also, nice fucking run-on sentence there. He is trying to intentionally piss me off in a way where I thought he wanted everyone's attention. If he was doing this to get a reaction out of me, then he could have told me not to respond to him at all. He fucking could have. But why would he even do that in the first place? He was intending to get a reaction out of you, so basically he would want you to respond anyway. And here you go, you gave it to him. Bravo! Not to mention the fact that I got falsely accused for copying one of his comments when I honest to God didn't even know where he posted it. So it's quite obvious that I did set it in my own words and I did not plagiarize it. And if I did know he posted that comment, then I would not have intentionally copied it. Could you just please stop playing the victim card? Please, damn it. Even due to the fact that I've stayed true to my own word during my apology towards IGO Media. No, you haven't. In fact, in most ways, it just kinda makes this incident fucking unbearable and downright insufferable. Seeing him actually knowing this fact that I get easily pissed off whenever someone intentionally wastes my time like that, while getting unfairly badmouthed for it. Unfairly my ass. All of this bickering was sparked under your own volition and trigger happiness. Trolls are going to continue to spam your posts and keep on bringing up the times you copied others, and critics are going to expose your blatant acts of vandalism and pseudo-innocence. I hate to say this as it sounds pretty spiteful, but you deserve that bad rep you have. Alright, here's where it gets way too far. And after he had annoyed me, I have secretly told people that I feel like butchering Automagic Critic and his family in real life for what he did to me in the comments. After someone by the name of Flying Kirby informed everyone about this, I started losing so many friends because of it. Even though I have absolutely zero remorse for Flying Kirby, this is one of the rare occasions he actually does something right. I guess I'll give him an expired Oreo ice cream sandwich in the freezer, because it's better than what I would give him traditionally. Now granted, if I directed that threat towards Automagic Critic, am I supposed to say it to him in order to be directed towards him? Yes! However though, I did not actually came up to him and said it to him in person at all, even though I did mention him. Although I still felt like an asshole sending that threat to him secretly, I did not actually said it to him. What is this, like the 4th or 5th time you used the victim card or a similar excuse? Yeesh. Whether if it was spread to many or only 2 people, it is still a messed up fantasy to want someone you don't like dead. Even for the people I despise, I just want them off the internet at worst. The rest of his argument is just a reprisal of some of what he said before, which wouldn't be a problem if he worded himself differently, so I'll be skipping to the next one. Now, let's move on to another stupid reason as to why I've lost so many friends recently, when many people thought that I have stole footage without giving credit on my recent video. If y'all didn't know what happened that time, I was just simply experiencing my first attempt at making a compilation meme. Apparently, I've recently found out it's a dead meme on YouTube that everyone has been doing, and was supposed to be a joke. When a friend of mine at school showed me one of these videos, which gave me the idea to have an attempt at making one. You heard that right, fellas. He made a meme compilation out of 5 dumb memes. It's as sterile and unfunny as you think it sounds. To get the gist of these, if you've seen those Nutshack memes from last year, you'll know how they are structured. Oh, and about that friend you mentioned, is that the same one who made your intro? If he or she is, then I would not see them in a positive light. For all we know, he might be a big fan of behind the meme. Ew. That thought alone makes me feel, loss of some control. Oh, and just because it's a joke doesn't mean I can't call those memes pandering or talentless, which they definitely are. In the description of the video, it shows evidence I have asked permission to the original owners of the footage I used that were never been used in the other How It Feels to Chew 5 Gum memes too. And then Flying Kirby came up to me saying that I plagiarized and thought this was an excuse I made up, when it was obvious that I borrowed the footage and not stole it, to the point where it got me so furious that I immediately blocked him. There is clearly a difference between borrowing and stealing, which proves that I'm getting fucked around with for nothing. Even though asking permission is what many people do before making videos with copyrighted content, and that is the whole point. And also, I would fucking admit that I stole it if I did so, because otherwise, it would have not been my fault. More excuses, more excuses. To verify that Farhan's claims of getting permission were most likely untrue, he doesn't even credit the original owners of the content in the description, which is something many people who do make these compilations do. Whether they had permission or not, place it at the end of the compilation or in the description. All you say is that they belong to their respective owners, which isn't enough. I mean, look at my videos, they have actual credits on them. And if you did actually go ahead and get permission for the clips, why didn't you make that aspect much more public, which would give you some more believability? Also, who the fuck wants to admit they stole content? That confession could be summed up as, I don't have any original bone in my body, so I'm guilty. Only the stupidest of suspects would do such a thing, unless maybe they were honest, which in itself is a rarity. Even when I did show them evidence, I have been accused of playing the victim card just to get away with it. When if I got criticized for something I have done wrong, I would take the advice with a pinch of salt and move on. But no, Liger and me had to just make false assumptions about it, even though I backed up my evidence. Dude, you are aware your evidence can be proven wrong and might be fake for all we know. There are definitely going to be those outcasts who will doubt every word you spew out, but I don't want to be like that here. Your poor way of organizing is why people thought you didn't ask permission or lacked the decency to give them credit, or in general that you weren't telling the truth. That reminds me, how does one get permission for those exactly? Did you ask for the right to use it by the owners of the clips, or the ones responsible in editing those 5 gum memes? The latter option doesn't make any sense because they themselves likely didn't ask for the right to use the clips either. Vagueness is a tricky obstacle. And last but not least, recently, when I have been accused of copying people in regards to my review and rant on the Emoji Movie, I have tried my absolute best in expressing my own, while popular, opinion on an animated film I personally consider the worst, in one of the most accurate and detailed ways possible. Detailed, yes. Accurate, not so much. Or probably because of my Happy Tree Friends rant where I copied Yoshi Player a while back then,
And we all know that happened. We all know this because we can't seem to forget about it. Because no one will ever remind us that this ever happened.
I brushed on this earlier on, but your noticeable lack of proofreading is very negatively reflecting on you in this segment. You've made a ton of arguments which turned invalid either due to a bad choice of wording or inconsistencies like this. Now to the point you meant to bring up, maybe those people are those who didn't forget about your half-ass rant on Happy Tree friends who aren't afraid to mention stuff from your earlier days. Remember, what you did on the internet years ago could say a lot about you. Applying this to myself, I really got all fired up when people talk badly about my prize Nintendo games, and I was very public about that too. Look on my own account's dislike video playlist and you can see the salt I had. Fucking bad times I had.
Alright, Farhan. Calm yourself.
Whew, that's a relief. I can finally cut off this abrasive music.
So yeah, now you know the truth about what happened during this incident that has been going on for the past 7 months.
Truth that I barely believe the lick of. And it doesn't mean it's not true, but it most likely isn't completely true.
And I hope to God that after this and the 2 other journals I linked here, this drama ends with a bang. And speaking of those 2 journals, I highly suggest you check them out. I already linked them here, by the way.
No thank you, Farhan. I would rather not make another video on you. Also, I'd pretty much bring up the exact same arguments as this one, so I'd be repeating myself a little too much.
I'm sorry guys for now. I think I might as well take another break for a few hours. I'm being dead serious.
I don't really think those breaks have been working out for you because you've still been bitter over this nonsense. Probably a longer duration would help.
But overall, I fucking love this incident so much to the point where I had to make an extreme rant on it. And here it is, as it is unnecessarily overstaying its welcome.
Believe me.
So thank you guys for listening. Take care, and have a wonderful day, everyone. Hashtag stop the drama!
Suffice to say, you didn't exactly stop the drama. Heck, you pretty much made it grow some more. Okay. So that's that chore of a response done with. Not going to lie, I was expecting this to be more tedious than I expected, but I did have a fair share of annoyances within the recording process. Still, I think it turned out better than expected. On the whole, your rage-induced rant was filled with a gallery full of problems surrounding your arguments, how you presented your rant, and a lack of care put into the grammar department. You often tried to find a way to dodge the criticisms and suspicion, and you lied about your second disclaimer of not bringing up the victim card or excuses bordering next to it. But lucky for you, Farhan, this is going to be the last ever video I do on you. Even if you do manage to outdo yourself, I will refuse to make a response to it. If you take this into consideration, I'll give you a smidge more of a chance to rectify your mistakes. However, if your future rants are still influenced heavily by your emotions, I will have called it off with you. By that point, you are not worth my time, or anyone else's time for that matter. Thank you to the viewers who were able to stomach this 20+ minute charade, as I likely won't make a video this long for a decent amount of time. Definitely proves that parts of my following have a good enough attention span. For the next project, expect it to be different as I'm planning on doing a DeviantArt special where I review various DA accounts I've discovered, both good and bad. Even with my qualms with the DeviantArt ranting community, they can be done right and carefully. No additional info will be spoiled besides the fact I am not taking requests for it. This would likely be a 1 or 2 time thing and I want to focus on people I found on my own. Anyways, I really hope you'd like the commentary. This is Bracken Neutron signing out. Oh, and happy Thanksgiving everyone.
Reading? More like stopping. I just wish I could cancel it. Well, I hope it gets cancelled forever.